Welcome to Products Under Pressure, a series from Productboard about building resilient products and teams in times of uncertainty. Today's guest is Sumeet Howe, VP of Product at Hover, a mobile app that transforms photos of any property into an accurate, interactive 3D model.
Hi, Sumeet.
Hi.
Thanks so much for coming in today to our office.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Have you played Jenga before?
I have not, so it'll be fun to see how this goes.
All right, well then I'll kick things off by going for the bottom.
Okay.
All right,
That was
great.
hard.
So kicking off the interview, it's been a year of uncertainty and unpredictability. What have your biggest lessons been this year as a product leader?
Embracing uncertainty and actually seeing that as an opportunity versus a threat was one of the biggest lessons. And that requires agility in decision making and quickly pivoting to adjust to shifting market conditions and customer needs. At Hover, we often talk about this concept of OODA loops. It's a military mental model of decision making during high stakes situations. So OODA stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. So you essentially observe what the market conditions are, what are the changing customer needs. You then put that in context or reorient and then decide what the next steps are and then act. And the faster you can reorient with new information, those who win are those who act fastest on the reorientation. But reorienting an entire org quickly is not that easy. So some of the big lessons are A, you need to be completely open about what are the challenges that you're facing as an org. B, be very transparent about your decision making. And then C, keep providing regular updates to reinforce the new reoriented direction that you have chosen so that you can empower your team to actually drive that change versus them feeling that it's been foisted on them.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And before the next question, I'm going to take my next move.
All right.
Going for the bottom here again. These are stubborn. They don't want to move.
All right, let's see. Okay. Would this be too risky?
Looks good.
Okay.
So at Hover, have you pivoted your product strategy at all in response to macroeconomic signals?
One of the main things that we did were to double down on product-led growth because now we wanted to grow more efficiently. So we started investing in simple self-serve user experiences. And one of the main strategy shift was to how do you ingrain the PLG tenets within our team's ethos, such as, how do you start building products in ways that you are delivering value before you're capturing value from the user. And then the other one is that how does the product now become your main user acquisition channel, right? How do you build a product with a go-to-market intent? Because now the users, you need to acquire users, you need to retain and expand with product. So one of the things we did last year was to establish two growth teams, one focused on acquisition, the other one focused on retention and expansion, and they're essentially building the connective tissue across our entire product suite, where previously we didn't necessarily need that because our sales team would just let our customers know about the additional product value that we were building, but now we can't afford to do that and grow efficiently, so product needs to speak for itself. So those were some of the changes that we made in response to the new macro conditions.
And what will Sumeet do next?
All right, let's see. Okay. Seems like an easy one.
How do you approach risk management and contingency planning when it comes to your product roadmaps?
I would say that we don't have a standard approach to risk management that my team follows. I mean, every roadmap is inherently prone to risk. If it's not, that means that we're not making big enough swings. But your roadmap needs to be rooted in deep understanding of customer problem. And then it becomes a game of sequencing. right? Like you keep investing in a direction as you're seeing results, and if you don't see a line of sight to positive ROI, then you reorient. But one of the things that we do in our org, each product leader comes up with this 3-year P&L for their product line. And the goal of this exercise is to not to come up with a 3-year waterfall roadmap, or nor the goal is that, hey, let's come up with a 3-year forecasted revenue plan. The goal of this exercise is to come up with a business plan of how are you going to grow Hover with your product line. So questions like, what are the customer segments that you're going to go after? What is the TAM that you are trying to unlock? What is the competitive landscape? And what are the product capabilities along with resources, both PED and GTM that you would need in order to win in this space. So the good things about this exercise is that it essentially gives you P&L for your entire product portfolio. And now when you see that a certain product is not hunting, then you can actually understand that what is the kind of impact that you're not going to have if you don't go after this product line, but then you can double down on some other product line that is working.
I love it. So it's long-term planning, but with some built-in flexibility.
Yes, yes.
All right, let's see if this Jenga has any flexibility for me right now.
Wow. Seems like an easy one.
There we go. So in an uncertain market, what are some cues that tell you should innovate new features or product lines versus when to just double down on what's already working?
We often have this debate in the company that there's so many things that we can improve in our core product, and why is product team building new products? So my answer invariably is ROI. Right? Like we can invest in a team that is working on improving our core value, but that same team can help us unlock a new TAM or help us figure out a new business line, which will fuel growth for the subsequent years. So there's definitely a balance. You need to constantly monitor your investments. But one thing I would say is that for new products, especially when you're seeing that hockey stick usage, not even just the first time usage, but also repeat usage, that's a great cue that you need to double down on that signal, because finding product market fit is incredibly hard. And when you see that smoke, you gotta go after it. But yeah, it's a balance between, hey, if your core is also exponentially growing, then that's actually a good problem to have, right? But typically for new product, that's a strong cue, usage.
It's getting scary down there.
Yeah.
So you mentioned usage as a strong cue, which is a good segue to my next question. So have you changed the way that you're thinking about product success? Specifically, are there any metrics that you're now doubling down on, or are you changing the way you're thinking about metrics in general?
Yeah, so the way I run the product team at Hover is that PM is not just accountable for building and shipping features or going after short-term revenue, but they are accountable for generating a scalable business model. I mean, we don't even call it products, we call it business lines. We have this concept of GM mindset, founder mindset, where they own the P&L, and we go as far as calling the tech lead and the PM lead the co-founders of their business line. So they have a revenue target, so that's like the high level success of how their business line is doing in terms of generating business impact. And then of course, underneath that, the leading indicators, the product usage metrics become really critical, because that's a signal on how to give them more funding or more resources. So I would say your typical pirate metric, especially in this PLG world, and then again, repeat usage for new products, especially because that's a good proxy for whether you're truly meeting the unmet need for the customer, or is it just that people are trying out new product because they already were using your core solution. High level, it's the revenue, it's like the business outcome that your product line or business line is driving, and then underneath it, depending on where the product is in the life cycle, what are the product usage metrics. Those I would say are the two main criteria.
Okay, what to do next? I'm following the lead. I'm doing the bold moves right now.
Yep. Oh, it's gonna fall in the next.
So in times like these, we obviously see higher turnover than normal. How do you, as a product leader, inspire team morale and, productivity?
I think I'm pretty open about my expectations and the characteristics that I look for in a Hover PM. And I'm grateful that my team has that founder's mentality, that winning mindset. It's important for me that my team is passionate about the work that they're doing. They're excited to make an impact and also see that their hard work is panning out. So some of the measures I've taken is I've created a pretty transparent environment where I can give them all the context they need to lead, to make bold moves, and then not be afraid of failures. And also the other thing is giving them fast feedback loops on how their actions are generating impact, and recognizing their hard work, celebrating their successes, but then also not shying away from talking about their failures and using that as a learning opportunity. I put a lot of emphasis on growth mindset, and I push my team to do things that they've never done before, which is hard, but it's also good for their professional development. My team knows that the bar is really high and it's not for everyone, and that's okay. I talk to a lot of candidates and I tell them that how PMing at Hover is different because you're not just a product manager, you are a business owner. You need to have that founder's mentality, and that's a demanding role and not everyone's cup of tea. But I also know that my team prides itself for this GM mindset, and they know it's hard, but it's equally gratifying when they see that the results are panning out.
Yeah, that sounds really rewarding.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
Oh man.
Okay. All right.
No pressure, Sumeet.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. Okay. Oh, you know what?
Oh, okay, there we go.
Easy one.
So there may be some parallels with your previous answer, but how do you define what success looks like for your product org?
First and foremost, I would say a mission-driven and a winning mindset org that is focused on generating value for our users in ways that achieve a scalable business model. An org that is obsessed about customer problem over the solutions that they come up with, and they're having fun solving these problems. And then lastly, I would say an org that is up-leveling the entire company. So a team that is just never content with status quo and constantly improving and pushing themselves and everyone else to be better, including myself. That's how I would define a successful org.
Sounds great. And here at Productboard, one of our values is relentless improvement. So I'm seeing some parallels here as well.
Yeah, we called relentlessness as one of our PM essence value. It's like relentlessness, being a hammer.
Perfect. We even got the same word. All right. Okay, that was easy. Okay, it's getting shaky.
It is.
Oh man.
Okay. All right.
Perfect. So Jenga is still standing,
Yes.
and we've reached our final question.
Great.
So I want to end things on a high note here. What makes you optimistic about the future? And this could be for Hover or broadly within the tech industry, or just anything that's top of mind for you.
Yeah, there's so many things to be optimistic about. Number one is our industry, the home improvement space. It's one of the least technologically advanced industries, and there's a ton of room for all sorts of disruption and innovation, and Hover is already at the cutting edge of that change. And you're seeing what's happening in AI. The technology is essentially exploding at an unprecedented rate, and we are able to now solve problems in ways that we were not able to do before. So that's very encouraging. And I would say mostly my team makes me feel very optimistic. I mean, my team, all the people at Hover, I just would pick them any day to get on whatever challenge that I need to. So lots of things to be grateful for.
That's so great. And it sounds like you're super passionate about what you do and your team, and it's just really nice to hear.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been great.
Okay, I can't turn back now. It's staying.
Oh, wow.
This is going to be fun for you. All right, we did it. High five.
Oh, Jesus.